Satya Dharma Reflection on February 15th, 2022. Even the fixation itself doesn't fixate to itself. There's only the stubbornness to fixate. Some people think that there's no need to walk with Luang Por for blessing. Luang Por said that that kind of feeling is preoccupied within itself. There is still an opinion regarding discrimination, differentiation. What does one know? This is like knowing the evil's emotions very little. Whatever you think, you are eaten up. Some people even criticize that Luang Por teaching the basic. Criticizing makes oneself within difficulties across lifetimes, across Buddha eras, across eons of times. Because this is criticizing the blessing of Luang Por. Whenever time that they are born, they will be stuck with just criticizing, analyzing, rebuking. They are eaten up by their own titi. Even the Arahants, the enlightened ones, they even wish to bless with the Mahabharami, with the great perfection. They don't have enough power to bear the samsara. They are only on the side of Nibbana. Therefore, don't pay attention to all these small words or even big words that seems arrogance. Everything has no values. Disregard, even from the disregard itself. What is there to be taken and to give value to? Even praises, even appreciations through words, they are not having any meanings at all. Some people say that they already understood everything that Luang Por has given. Luang Por said, go ahead. Just stay home. It's already so different from inside the temple and the outside. Luang Por mentioned that the directions that Luang Por has turned to while blessing, that direction will be lightened up because there is repetitious in blessing. For example, the road right in front of the temple, that way is lightened up. But at the time that Luang Por hasn't been in certain places or certain roads that much, then there will be a lot of the beings, the non-human beings who are waiting for his blessing, including right in front of the temple. 2 or 3 days that Luang Por hasn't been there, it would be crowded already. They are waiting for Luang Por The point is that the power of breaking through is not enough from those, even though they diligently blessing, because it's not enough. While blessing is not yet without traces, there's always some mixtures in there from one's own karmic difficulties. For example, the brightening is not beyond itself. There is a limitation in the blessing from each person. So, to help penetrating through is still limited. Even though the essence is not limited, but the mighty force of the blessing has some limitations. Long Paul just have to walk out to the gates to purify, because if lacking of blessing over there physically for a few days, it will be sticky. So when the brightening is unattached to itself, the disregard is not attached to itself. Therefore, right in front of the gate will be swept away, because it has something to do with the realms that are heavy. They are drowned into themselves. Regarding the sunken state of those who are in contemplation and samadhi concentration, is even done in the woeful ways as well, by using the black magic and preoccupation with it. Regarding mindfulness, concentration, special insights, and meditative power, this skill can be the power for the goodness and the badness. If it's used in the evil way, it will be the worst of the woeful realms. That's why to bless all these realms, you have to go beyond brightening. To be limited with just awakening or brightening, soon there's no power to bless. Brightening is uninvolved with itself. The more uninvolved with the brightening, it will be even more brightening. It's very good purification in this way. Brightening in the way of disregarding is already the brightening that is not relevant to itself. Listen well. For example, disregard in the way of brightening in the way of disregard. With this, it's possible to purify onwards. Disregard is uninvolved with itself. The uninvolved can purify at any steps, at any limitations. It will purify all limitations. Therefore, you have to use it often. Because normally, the samsara of the states of mind and states of Dharma attainment have already limitations in themselves. So when you meet them, it's inevitably to be sunken in it at the same time. But if uninvolved uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself, there will be no delusion to be limited, just like them. Then the blessing will continue to purify and penetrate through well. Sometimes when you walk blessing, you could even sleeping while walking. Without using the words to lead them to a hosi. to ask for forgiveness or to cancel all the projection or the determination of Hosi, because their mind is set up with determination and projection. Think of a few sentences is good enough to lighten up for that kind of mind, because it affects even you walk, even you drive a car. It could affect you until you could even drive down to the side of the road, just like that. What happens is that when the mind is maintained and sunk into itself, this stage will be clung by samsara's determination and projection of the mind. While there is an ongoing usage of the awareness in looking, seeing, and knowing, the samsara's minds and one's own mind will just press on one another. This won't happen when there is no form up. It has nothing to do with setting up or not, being obliged or not. Without the forming up, nothing can dominate it. There's only a purification. Except that you are forming up the knowing, ongoing knowing, or the seeing. There is an awareness overlaying in looking, seeing, and knowing. Then the clinging will be right there at that moment from the samsara, from all beings. Therefore, you must purify the form up of all this awareness in looking, seeing, and knowing, enable to purify in time. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself, constantly. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, is not the intention to grab anything. It is for the blessing. It doesn't grab anything as it is. Therefore, there is no pitfall in it. Must diligently form it up in the mind, the sentences that purify themselves. Why is that? Because it has effect in your blessing. If there is an effort to purify itself, it doesn't purify because there is grabbing. Use it for blessing instead. Any sentences that purify themselves will be used to purify samsara. Then there will be no pitfalls to oneself. Because if making a conclusion for oneself, there is a grasping for oneself, there won't be any purification for the external. And sometimes the samsara even smarter. They can hear your sentences from your mind. They are better off already. On the opposite, for those who already form up such a sentence with the essence, are stuck with the sentence because trying to conclude for oneself. Therefore, they are just stuck, unfinished as such. There are some linking for those who have formed up the sentences and those who hear it. If you form up those sentences without discarding them, it's like you are locked up by your own grabbing for the essence. It results in the lack of full power from those who hear it. If you brighten out according to your own sentences that formed up in your mind, those who hear it will also be brightening accordingly. The mind is dissolved. Any sentences that are formed up and is unwound in themselves, those who hear will just brightening accordingly as well. Forming up purifies itself. Any terminologies that you formed up can purify themselves. Just diligently use them. It is the diligence in blessing. This is not an effort for the sake of oneself, therefore there is no pitfall in it. What is there to be fixated upon, huh? No fixation to the non-fixation itself. There is just a stubbornness, delusively, like that. Even the delusive attachment is not real. It is anatta in itself, meaningless in itself. Within this samsara, there is no such thing as atta or self. They are just talking about it by themselves. Atta, self or self. Even atta is anatta. It's meaningless in itself. No is not even no itself. We have to purify like this. Don't be obsessed with no. That is already yes. This is delusion to yes and no. Delusively yes to the no. No is not even no itself. That's right, it is the titi or opinions in blessing regarding this is it or this isn't it. So whatever that is said here, it purifies itself. It won't be taken to circle to the opinions themselves. When you say no, it's already a titi. You have to purify it as no is not even no itself. No fixation even to the non-fixation itself. Because when you say that you are not fixated, that is already a fixation to the non-fixation itself. No fixation even to the non-fixation itself. The form up or the assume up that purifies itself, go ahead with it. There is no pitfall in it. But any terminologies that don't purify themselves, they will be left as samsara, and they will take them as samsara of opinions. For example, the emptiness, the word emptiness, is taken as samsara of opinions, on and on. being empty or not empty, already empty, not empty again. What is this? Emptiness has nothing to do with itself. Terminologies that purify themselves, they will not become samsara of Tithi. Emptiness is not emptiness. So who are going to babble about empty, empty, empty? Who is going to be drunken in the words on and on about emptiness, emptiness, emptiness? In this way, it's going to end regarding all that terminologies. Emptiness is not emptiness itself because it's as such. It just grabbed by Tithi. Some people filled in their house wall with the word emptiness. Everything is empty. You know what it is? It is the releasing of one's own Tithi. Be informed that whatever that is mentioned in books, they are not it. Books are all about Tithi, all about opinions. It is the passing on of opinions only. The truth is, when the Arahants or the Buddhas reflects anything, it's done at that moment. They are not written down at all. The monk said they are afraid that the teachings will be gone. Luang Por said that the most fearful thing is the fear itself. Therefore, there's a lot of restless minds fabricating, adding on and on. Being afraid of declination of religions. That fear is declining in itself. It creates declination in itself, actually. The true religion doesn't exist. There's only collective delusive attachment and desire. Is it so? It is actually the Tithi of the beings of samsara, which is wrapping around the Buddhas. And you think that religions are declining. What is it that is truly declining? It is just the Tithi itself, actually. One's own opinion. Grabbing at the anicang, the dukkhang, using Tithi to grab it. That which has nothing to do with the anicang, has nothing to do with anatta. You need to use strong medicine to purify. Because faith itself is the parasite. You have to purify faith as well. It's clinging until it kills the trees. Which trees that have a lot of parasites, they cannot survive. They say that religions are the refuge for the liberation of suffering. So for those who don't have religions, they will be in difficulty. Everyone has one's own religion. Whatever that one is fixated upon, whatever that one is clinging to, that's one's own religion. Let there be no true religion, because religion is the delusive attachment that is collective. Specific delusive attachments, sects and doctrines. They are all about upatan, delusive attachment.
ยังเข้าใจไม่ตรงกันเลยมันอยู่ที่วิบากของอุทานนะลูกวิบากของอุทานแล้วแต่จะแปลอะไรใช่วิบากของอุทานที่มันยังแค่ไหนอยู่แค่อะไรอยู่
The monk said that even we listen to the Satya Dharma daily, however, there is no understanding in the same way. Luang Por said it is subjected to the vibhak of the delusive attachment that is remaining limited in certain extent.
มันฟังมันไม่สรุปในการที่มันทิ้งในการฟังที่มันยังเอาในการฟัง
There is still grasping for the listening. It is not yet discarding itself.
เอาความเห็นไปจับเอาความเห็นไปจับเอาความเห็นไปจับแล้วก็ตีความนิดตีความสักหน่อยมันก็เลยไม่เหมือนกันแล้ว
When the opinions are used in listening, there are already different interpretations of it.
มันก็บอกอยู่ตลอดเวลาเหมือนที่ไม่ใช่อะไรได้เหมือน
It's always mentioned all the same that is not about anything in being the same.
บางคนบอกหลวงพ่อในชั้นสูงฟังยากบางคนบอกขั้นพื้นฐานแล้วตกลงมันยังไงตกลงมันไม่ใช่ทั้งสองอย่าง
Some people say that Luang Por's teaching or reflection is for the high level, while some people say it's basic. Luang Por said neither is it.
ที่บอกขั้นพื้นฐานอีกคนบอกหลวงพ่อชั้นสูงฟังยากแค่นั้นแหละคุณต้องไปสวดมนต์ก่อนต้องไปทำอย่างอื่นฟังครูบาอาจารย์องค์อื่นไปก่อนฟังพ่อไม่เข้าใจหรอกแล้วมันไม่ใช่ทั้งสองฝ่ายใช้ทิฏฐิกับท่านเรื่องจริง
The opinions that are used with Luang Por or with any Mahabarami would be a disaster to oneself. Oh, it is difficult to listen to Luang Por's reflection. Must do recitation first, must listen to other teachers first. Won't get what Luang Por is teaching at all. This kind of opinions that is used with the Mahabarami is a disaster.
ไม่เห็นในตำราไม่หนาขึ้นในขณะที่ท่านพูดแล้วไปท่านพูดแล้วไปคุณเล่นเอาท่านพูดแล้วไปท่านให้หลุดแต่คุณเอาไปติด
Don't you see that the books are thicker and thicker and thicker? Words that said is bygone. Words are liberated from themselves, but you are fixated to them. ท่านให้อะไรให้คุณเอาไปเอากัน Words are given to be shared, but they are taken into themselves. จบให้แต่คุณเอาไปไม่จบ The ending is given, but it is made unending. In every Buddha era, it's all the same. The ending is given, but it's always made unending. All in all, you can't believe to Luang Por. Luang Por said, this is not to make believe. The monk said sometimes it could be like an offense. Luang Por said, no belief even to the disbelief itself. Both belief and disbelief is itself titi. Disbelieving turns into an offense. Believing also an offense. That is like grasping, so listen well, because it will make a purification for what you listen to as well. No encouragement for faith. Not wanting to bear the parasites. When the parasites are coming, you have to purify them well.
ศรัทธามาต้องรีบล้างศรัทธากันดีๆอย่าแช่ศรัทธาไว้เช่นนั้นไม่งั้นเดี๋ยวอันตราย
When faith is coming, purify it well. Don't let it sink there as such. It's dangerous.
คือความยึดมันจะลุ่มลึกไปเรื่อยๆ
Because the fixation will be deepening further and further, clinging further and further, deeper and deeper.
ดีๆประโยคไหนล้างประโยคนั้นลูกบัญญัติไหนล้างบัญญัตินั้น
Whatever sentences or terminologies that are used, let's purify them at the same time.
แค่เขาเอาบัญญัติของเธอเอาไปวนเวียนนิดเดียวมันก็ตีกลับหาเธอด้วยเช่นเดียวกัน
Only if they are circling with your sentence, even a tiny bit, it will bounce back to you also.
ถ้าบัญญัติที่เธอให้มันไม่ล้างในบัญญัติเอง
If the terminologies that you were given
เขาจับเอาได้
without purification to themselves,
หาผู้พูดด้วย
the karma will bounce back to the one who said
คุ
it.
ยกันทุกวันเยอะๆมันก็เยอะไปหมดเลยก็คุยล้างเลยลูกส่วนมากมันจะ
Your conversation must purify itself. It cannot be whatever. Help purify it altogether.
ถ้าจะคุยกันไม่ได้เราก็ต้องล้างทีหลังนั่นแหละเนี่ยน้องโหนปูปีกอย่างนี้
Just like these birds.
ใช่
It is not the way.
ในวัน
It is samsara.
นี้เวลาโกรธไปมองดูที่คนไปมองดูที่
When you bless,
ทัศน์อะไร
don't look at the forms as human or what.
จิตวิญญาณมนุษย์ทำแล้ว
Beings, humans, non-humans, elements, they must be purified evenly. Use the essence of uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself, even the climate, even tiny animals must be purified evenly, without discrimination. All elements, all nature, humans, non-humans, purify all the same, through the uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself.
มันเสียเวลาเสียเวลาไม่เกี่ยวถ้าไม่เกี่ยวเองมันเฉพาะในการโปรดไม่ได้มันเป็นเรื่องของการเสถียรไปมันเป็นเนื้อหามหาโบนาทั้งหมด
The purification for elements, nature, all things, and all beings must be evenly. When there is purification through the essence of uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, do not specify with any certain things, because it is a waste of time. The blessing through the essence of uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, cannot be specific for certain things. Blessing evenly towards all things is the essence of the great compassion entirely. It purifies all and everything evenly.
ว่ามันสรุปมันไม่ล้างสรุปพอสรุปแล้วมันยังคาสรุปอยู่มันไม่ล้างสรุปเองถ้าสรุปมันล้างสรุปเองอย่างที่ให้ไปเนี่ยมันจะเสถียรไปเองเลยรู้มหาวุณาไปเองโดยที่ไม่จำแนกสรรพสัตว์และโดยที่ไม่จำแนกธาตุไม่จำแนกอะไร
When the blessing is specified, it's because the conclusion doesn't purify itself enough. It is still stuck within itself. If the conclusion purifies itself as given, there will be the great compassion that is natural in there, which means that the purification will be for all evenly, without discrimination towards all beings or all elements, and anything whatsoever.
ไม่แม้กระทั่งไม่เอง
Disregard, even from the disregard itself, simultaneously. It will purify all about discrimination. That is the essence of the great compassion.
ล้างเสถียรไปหมดเลย
It will purify evenly, and it's also instantaneous.
เราไปเฉพาะเนี่ยมันเป็นการศึกษาในการโปรดชนิดหนึ่ง
The habit of specifying is a kind of karmic habit.
ล้างตรงนี้ล้างตรงนั้นล้างเฉพาะเนี่ยมันเป็นกรรมแสงการปล่อยชนิดหนึ่ง
To be specific in blessing here and there is a kind of karmic habit in blessing.
นั้นฟังล่าแสดงมหากรุณาในการโปรดดีไม่เกี่ยวมันก็ต้องไม่เกี่ยวเอง
Therefore, well to listen to the implication of the essence for blessing, uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself.
มันจะเป็นเฉพาะอะไรเล่า
How can there be any specification?
ตอนนี้ได้ทั้งวันก็จะล้างได้เยอะมากถูกแล้วลูกนี่ขยันพูดทุกวันนี่ก็เพราะอย่างนี้แหละ
These terminologies are said repetitiously all day long. It can purify so much. Luang Po said, that's right.
เราไม่ขยันกันเองก็เลยต้องมาอยู่ใกล้ๆหลวงพ่อ
The monk said, we are not diligent in blessing. That's why we have to be near Luang Po, huh?
เดินหลวงพ่อพาเดินกี่องค์พุทธาล่ะลูกที่มาตรัสรู้ก็มีแต่ประโยคเดิม
How many Buddhas already enlightened? They use the same old sentences, huh?
ย้อนพุทธนอนเก่า
The same sentences are used from way back, from the past Buddha eras.
มาล้างใหม่มาล้างพูดล้างใหม่แล้วที่ท่านขยันกล่าวไว้ประโยคที่มันล้างกันในประโยคเองเนี่ยเพราะมันมีผลต่อสังวรมหาศาลรู้ไหม
The same words are said again to purify again and again and again. The diligence in saying these sentences, the sentences that purify themselves, has tremendous effects to the samsara.
รู้ไหมที่ปวดมาเนี่ยที่ก็จบมรรคไปกันเลยเยอะแยะคำว่าจบมรรคเนี่ยจบมรรคอรหันต์
Do you know that since the blessing has begun, there are already many who ends their path. The word path means the arahant path, the path to the arahant, to the enlightenment.
หลวงพ่อพูดทุกวันคำเดิมๆบอกให้รู้เลยที่สว่างไสวขึ้นมาเป็นเนื้อหาที่ยากมากมายมหาศาล
By these repeated sentences, there have been already great numbers of those who are brightening out. What's happening is they are still grasping for the blessing. Blessing must be bygone to itself.
อริมักชั้นสูงก็จบอริมักชั้นสูงก็ยุติอริมักได้จบอริมักได้
Even the high level of the noble path can be ended.
จบตัวคาดหวังได้เลิกคาดหวังในความบริบูรณ์ที่มันจะบริบูรณ์เองนั่นเองเป็นความคาดหวัง
All kinds of hope or expectations for completion can be ended.
นิพพานก็ไม่ใช่มันจะนิพพานเองจบเลย
Nibbana is not even Nibbana itself. That's it. It's ended right there.
ไม่ต้องไปนิพพานกันแล้ว
There is no need to go for Nibbana already.
คิดว่าไปนิพพานอยู่มั้ยทะเลไปใช่ไหม
When you think that you are going to proceed for Nibbana, what is it that is proceeding?
มันหลอก
It's the deceiving. It's the tithi that is deceiving.
สมุทัย
It is the belief value, which is the samutai in itself.
นิพพานก็ไม่ใช่มันก็
Nibbana is not Nibbana itself, that's all. The path is ended right there. The attempt to proceed for Nibbana is ended right there.
ถูกแล้วข้างหน้ามันก็ไม่ใช่นิพพานมันก็จะยึดชีวิตประจำวันประมาณหาอยู่หากินอะไรประมาณนั้น
Even though they don't proceed for the enlightenment, without diligently make a conclusion towards ending, the present will be grasped as well. Neither is it in front or in the now. The monk said that there is the fixation to the now, earning for the living as such. Long Po said it's something like that.
เมื่อก่อนนี้เราจะไปนิพพานก็เลยตั้งใจปฏิบัติตั้งใจทำความดีพอบอกนิพพานไม่มีนิพพานไม่ไปก็เลยวุ่นกับปัจจุบันเลยทีนี้เดี๋ยวพูดล้างไปเรื่อยๆนิพพานก็ไม่ใช่กันนี่มันทั้งนิพพานเองเนี่ยล้างพวกไหนอะล้างพวกที่จะไปนิพพานล้างพวกที่จะเอานิพพานเห็นไหมอะไหม้มันก็ทั้งไหม้เองนี่ล้างพวกไหนล้างพวกที่เอาปัจจุบันอยู่นั่น
In the past, there was an intention for the enlightenment. Therefore, there's a lot of intentions for practices and to do goodness. And when being told that Nibbana doesn't exist, no proceeding for the enlightenment, it results in the preoccupation with the present. Continue to diligently say the words that purify itself. Nibbana is not Nibbana itself. What kind of people that it will purify? It will purify those who are proceeding for the enlightenment. It will purify those who desire for Nibbana. And disregard even from the disregard itself. Who is it that is going to be purified by this sentence? It will purify those who are grasping for the present.
ไม่เกี่ยวมันก็ต้องไม่เกี่ยวเองเนี่ยล้างพวกไหนล้างพวกที่กำลังขวนขวายในปัจจุบันที่มันหมกมุ่นอยู่ถูกแล้ว
Uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, will do purification for which type of people? It will purify those who are trying hard at the present, who are embedded with the present.
ฉะนั้นแต่ละประโยคของท่านสมุดเฉทประหารสมุดไทยแต่ละประเภทให้ทั้งหมดในสังสารวัตรนี้
Therefore, each sentence that is given here will naturally acting upon cutting through deliberately for all types of the samutai, all types of causes of suffering within this samsara.